Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's Pivot in Progress episode on breaking into strategy ops and founders office roles at top companies. So, we got this topic aligned today because of popular demand. At Pivot, I'll share obviously more exactly what we do and what my role is. But one of the most common things that we heard from people from various backgrounds and various uh, roles, companies, levels was, hey, I'm really excited or curious about how to get into strategy oriented roles, chief of staff roles, founders office roles, management consulting roles, all these roles which are very attractive because they have so much visibility. Um, they work on some of the most critical projects within the company, and at least the surface they seem to be doing a lot of different things. It's not the same monotonous thing day in day out, like it might feel for some of the other roles. So we have a terrific strategy professional with us today, who is behind the stage. I'll just be bringing him on stage in a second, but he has experience at Fractal Analytics, which, as we know, is very fast growing startup, has recently IPO'd as well. It was in the news for for a lot of good things recently. So happy to have Jay, and here we go. We'll just bring him on. Hi Jay, good evening again. How are you doing?
Hi Arjun, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good too. Thanks so much for making time for this session. I know we have spoken once earlier, and we got a flurry of very positive feedback at that time with regard to all the insights that were shared. So we thought it would be good to have you again.
Sure,
Um,
thank you. Thank you for having me.
yeah, absolutely. I see there's some tech issue with my video. Can you see me and hear me though? Fine, Jay.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Just that maybe there's a mirror behind you or something like that, because of which your
Yeah,
whenever your
maybe.
image moves, it kind of goes into a
Yeah,
blur.
I think I might not be able to change that. I hope people can
That's
forgive
okay.
me for
That's okay.
this time. But let's dive into it, Jay. So thanks again. And the first thing that I think it would be helpful for everybody to just know us a little better, so we can do a round of intros. I can just go first. For
Sure.
those who might be joining Pivot in Progress sessions for the first time, my name is Arjun, and I'm the founder of Pivot. Basically, what we do at Pivot is help people make different types of career transitions when they are making some sort of inflection point change in the career. So it's not necessarily just natural progression within the same exact role, same exact company, but rather you're changing your level in the organization or your domain, your industry, sometimes even your geography, right? The other different types of inflection points, we'll cover that in more detail later. But we help people land their target role anytime they are making some switch. With that, I'll turn it over to Jay. Jay, welcome again. If you can just share a little bit about your journey and what you do today at Fractal, that'd be great.
Sure, sure. I'll just maybe give a brief background, and then, yeah, Arjun, I'll leave it up to you to kind of deep dive into any specific things that you find interesting. But hi, everyone. I'm a principal manager at Fractal's Group CEO office. I work with the founder. I've been here for about 6 years now. Fractal is an AI enterprise AI company that works with some of the largest companies in the world, building for them AI solutions and products that power their that power decision in their enterprise. Um, Better decisions lead to more value in terms of more revenue, better margins, less risk, new product development, um, helping fight disruption. All of these areas are where Fractal kind of plays into. Specific to my role at Fractal, I work with the founder of the company. So look at I look at my roles in two areas. One is strategic long-term projects, where I get to kind of work on something which is super long-term. Very recently, worked on the IPO of the company. So that was a 4-year journey, and there are such long-term projects within company where company is changing in a significant manner over a long period of time, and They want to kind of they want to kind of put in the right people who can project manage this change.
Mm.
And the second part of my role is more immediate, more like a chief of staff role, where essentially there's always something which is urgent and important on a daily basis, uh, and I get to kind of play a critical role in solving or enabling that in solving that problem or enabling in that initiative. So before this, spent about 4 years at Lodha Group, India's largest residential real estate developer, working in their corporate strategy team.
Mm.
My role was similar to this role, except for the chief of staff part of the role. So we used to select a function every year and transform it end to end. And before that, worked with BCG and joined BCG through campus after my MBA. And before that, worked with a bank called Credit Suisse for 2 years.
Got it. Okay. That's really helpful, Jay. I think one of the things that's interesting is you have worked across different industries, and what we'll try to unpack during part of the session is how you were able to make those type of pivots into different industries. Because while you
Sure.
might be in similar, strategic planning and execution roles, um, I'm sure you must have required some sort of upskilling or knowledge enhancement to be able to perform well based
Yes.
on that industry's dynamics, right? But
Yes.
let's start a little broad, right? Because there's just so much happening right now in the corporate landscape with regard
Yes.
to skill evolution, tech advancement, layoffs, people and companies changing their priorities very, very frequently compared to earlier, just so that they can stay ahead of the curve. So there's a lot going on. What I want to understand from you is like the landscape of strategy oriented roles, right? Wherein it's not a one size fit all role, it can vary and take the shape of that particular company's requirements. What are the biggest trends that are shaping that landscape right now,
Yeah.
according to you?
Yeah. Sure. I can share a couple of them with the evolution of how the companies kind of evolved. So, strategy consulting was a term coined by Bruce Henderson of Boston Consulting Group. They were trying to, he was thrown a challenge by, I think, the Bank of Boston to kind of figure out a way to kind of generate consulting income and build out this kind of an office which does something called a management consulting, or which consults management for enterprises for a fee. And he was not able to kind of figure out what exactly should be the offering, and that's how he came up with saying that, let's go with something called strategy consulting, because it's little of everything and not specifically something, right?
Yeah.
That's how strategy consulting started. But in that era, data wasn't available, so you were looking at a world which was volatile and uncertain, uh, at a level where the mix of volatility, even when you so which was volatile and uncertain. And data can solve for volatility, but it can't solve for uncertainty. So that's one thing that one must keep in mind. And consultants were required to solve not only the volatile problem, not only the uncertain problem, but also the volatile problem. What do I mean by that, right? What I mean by that is, should we do an M&A or not? Right? There
Mm.
is absolutely no data available in the world that can ensure a successful decision on that front. But should we ship our freight via air, or should we ship via land right now to reach on time or not? That kind of data is available today, wasn't available, let's say, a few years back, right? 30,
Mm.
40 years back, it wasn't available. So that category of problems is volatile problems, while this category, M&A kind of category of problems, is still uncertain, because the future itself is uncertain. There are variables which you can't define. Your success will be affected by variables which you can't even imagine or define, right? So that's, take for example Iran war, right? Nobody knew how it will break out, and it will affect supply chain. So that's uncertainty, right? So coming back to the topic, right? Strategy consulting. was kind of covering all of those areas. And company enterprises, whether they wanted to grow, cut cost, or wanted to kind of get ready for the future, uh, were like kind of leveraging strategy consultants to kind of work on these areas. In parallel, they wanted some strong internal team, so they also had a corporate strategy function, which was essentially staffed with the consulting experience folks.
Hmm.
That's how corporate strategy as a function evolved. Over a period of time, there have been a couple of large trends, mega trends. One is just data and AI kind of bringing down the work that was around volatility, right?
Hmm.
So a lot of the volatility work has come down because now it has come. Now data is available, right? So a lot of that work has shifted to data and AI.
Hmm.
What has still remained is the work which is around uncertainty. So something like an ops excellence, something where decisions are nebulous. Take for example mergers and merger integration, stuff like that still remains in the domain of consulting. um, so over a period of time, these trends have affected consulting in such a manner that many of the there has been a clear segregation between, let's say, folks who solve problem through AI and folks who don't solve problem through AI. And the problems have also been segregated. So today, nobody will go to a management consultant to solve a forecasting problem. Typically, is my sense, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that's a big trend that has come in. So there has been some stratification of the industry. Over and above that, I think AI has also disrupted the way we work as an organization, and that
Yeah.
has also
Like the
disrupted.
internal workflows and stuff.
Exactly, and that has also disrupted consulting because there was a part of work which was related to knowledge management.
Hmm.
So all of that kind of went away, and I think because of that, pyramids are becoming more flatter in a
Hmm.
vertical sense,
Got it.
because you were doing a lot of work at associate level on knowledge and synthesis. That
Hmm.
has kind of become a lot more automated, productive. So you need kind of less number of associates there. Sorry, I just pause here. Maybe we can
Yeah,
move
yeah,
it.
no, no. Thanks for sharing that. I think there's a lot happening in a lot of different, vantage points, a lot of different angles. So I'm just kind of processing that. I wanted to see how you're tying the thread of all these factors that you're talking about in terms of, let's say, unpredictable geopolitical events. Then you have, AI, and certain new tools which were not at our disposal just a year ago, and they're going to be more and more coming up for like forecasting
Yes,
or other, kind of work that was done differently.
correct,
So all of these, I mean, are rapidly, like you said, disrupting and creating new paradigm shifts,
correct.
both in terms of how work gets done, what kind of skill requirements
Yes,
companies need from their workforces,
yes,
um, the kind of outcomes and performance goals that companies are setting than
correct,
before. Like if they were earlier expecting X to be achieved within a year, today they might expect that within half a year because of the
correct,
speed,
correct.
execution. So, given there are so many changes happening on so many different fronts in the landscape of
Yes,
strategy consulting, how does it tie with the thread of career focused trends?
yeah,
And not just from a skill perspective, because skills are obviously
yeah,
one aspect which we will delve into in a in a very specific and compartmentalized manner as well. But I want to look at it slightly more broadly in terms of career trajectories,
correct.
and people's
Yeah,
decision making on where to take their career and how to take
sure,
their careers.
sure. So I think to kind of maybe break this down into a structured manner, right? How I would think about is, I think all of this disruption is coming because we are seeing AI and its capabilities evolving very fast, right?
Hmm.
um, AI as a technology is evolving so fast that many of the tasks that hitherto were human are being performed by AI, and that's how kind of AI usage kind of grows.
Yeah.
Any task where AI matches or exceeds human performance, that's where AI will be used. That's where organizations will use AI, and any task where AI doesn't match or exceed human performance, that's where organizations will use humans, right? So then you need to kind of understand where AI will kind of exceed human performance first, and where it will exceed last,
Mm.
right? So, and there is a very common theory that, wherever humans have kind of whatever skills humans have kind of evolved in a short period of time, whether it be writing, singing, talking, stuff like that, AI will kind of start to match and exceed human performance very quickly there. But in tasks which are more physical, AI will take years and years to kind of catch up to it, because of two reasons. One, it's in the physical world, so the data isn't there for AI to learn about it. Second, evolutionary, it took also humans millions of years to kind of come to that point, right? So this finger and its dexterity, right? Uh,
Mm.
AI will take years and years to kind of acquire it. It won't happen right away, right?
Mm.
So then what kind of careers are we looking at first, right? And then within that, what should we do in corporate strategy, and how to kind of think about preparing for a career in corporate strategy, right? So so
Mm.
you must understand two things. One is, AI is a multiplier, so definitely leverage it whenever you kind of get a chance in your career. Don't send a human to do a machine's job. So never kind of not leverage AI in tasks where you know that AI will exceed human performance. That's
Mm.
one kind of key takeaway that I would recommend, that should always be there. Second is, look at skills which have been developing over millennia, because humans have evolved accordingly. Those are the skills where you can kind of build your career also. So if you are a surgeon, you are doing great. But if you are a radiologist, yeah, think twice, right?
Mm. Right. Got it.
So that's how you I recommend you think about which careers to kind of go for. And that's why you are seeing memes like, a plumber is more safer in AI than a knowledge worker, right?
I mean,
But
I think some of that is a little more of the Western lens because I think the value of those roles is much higher, given the lack of talent in that area. It's kind of like how China is the
yeah,
manufacturing hub as
see,
opposed to the US, right?
correct. So we are thinking from supply and demand only from a human perspective till now,
Yeah.
but we must understand if AI will kind of provide additional supply in those areas or not. For a plumber, yes, no, but for a surgeon also, to be honest, right?
Mm.
It's no right now, because most of the work is done through hands, and uh, there is a lot of bodily and physical movement that happens. There are many areas like this. Take for example construction management and other career choices which require physical movement, which require physical presence. Those careers will are still kind of less disrupted compared to AI, is my sense. And those are careers that can be taken in case one wants to kind of uh, understand which careers won't be directly disrupted by AI. So that's the first part. Second piece is, let's see, your career is disrupted by AI.
Mm.
There will always be tasks which AI will be good at, and which AI will not be good at, because either the data is in the physical world, or something else, right? So take for example, coding is given as a case where AI is super good at building out you know software, so on and so forth. There also the reality is that architecting a software remains something which is in human realm. AI is not that great. Architecting a software for security is again a realm of humans. Uh, so so there are areas within those things as well, where you can kind of, like, finding out human requirements, right? No software is good by itself. You need to know the users and how a software needs to be built, right? uh, think of your role as a full stack role, from building, uh, as owning software development end to end, right? And
Mm.
now just think that 90% of your time is freed up from writing code. You should
mm,
spend that 90% of your time understanding users and solving their problems through writing code, rather than and architecting those code in such a manner that users feel that it is super friendly, right? That's how I would think about it. Don't try to kind of exceed human performance in areas where AI has already kind of done a good job.
mm.
Use free up your time in those areas and kind of start to kind of build the skill in other areas where understanding the users, building a superb interface that users will use, or testing it out, growing that product, so on and so forth, where you can kind of really spend more time that has been freed up to kind of build out a solution. So that's where I think every job's moat will come in. um, Even for strategy consultants or corporate strategy folks, whenever they do an internal project, spend more time in kind of framing the problem that is still in the physical world. That is where the users are, that is where
Right.
the pinpoints are, that is what will guide what to build, right?
Right.
Rather than spend more time on testing the product, so on and so forth.
So
So
that's a very good point around how to reallocate your time towards things which will become more
correct.
productive for human contribution
Yeah.
standpoint.
And
And
I just want to squeeze in one more
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Uh,
Mm,
Go deeper on those tasks, become an expert in those tasks, spend more time not only exercising those tasks, but also become deeper and expert in those tasks, right? Uh, really kind of create a moat around it, because that will create your own expertise, and the rest of the thing is commoditized, right? So you can really kind of charge a premium for the problem you solve.
mm. Yeah. No, fair enough. What I was thinking, like, I mean, because we have been hearing this notion about like how to focus on the tasks which are more human centric, and that AI will not be focused on or cannot do right now. Um, but at the same time, a lot of the things that we are seeing are getting very rapidly. Basically, a lot of the tasks that used to be done by humans, let's say even a year ago or 6 months ago, are now being done by AI. So the
Correct.
pace of advancement of AI has been at breakneck speed. And because of that, when we talk about, okay, now I'm going to make a decision today based on what AI is doing today, I feel like, I mean, I would love to hear your comments, like problem
Yeah.
framing, for example, that you were saying. I mean, today we are talking about it. Oh, yeah, look, let's spend more time on problem framing because then we can give better input to AI and all that. But since we are in a world which is close to building AI agents which are autonomous to a large extent, we all know about OpenClaw and all of that. Um, how do you think can human professionals adapt to such breakneck speed of tech evolution, where if you make a decision that I'm going to excel at X, that X is not going to be taken over by AI within 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, yeah. That's why I said go deep on those tasks,
Hmm.
because when you kind of go deep on those tasks, learn it from some other human, you
Yeah.
will find that there are nuances that AI will kind of not catch it, because they are not there in the physical world yet, right? So, take for example, if you are feeling that product design is where the rest of the value is compared to the full software, then how do you do interviews? How do you find customer pain points? How do you kind of solve for those in an intuitive manner? How do you test those hypotheses out and then kind of start to code? Will become super valuable. And you must understand that not all of the information is available to AI. Enterprise data is not available to AI, so all the enterprise workflows are safe right now, right? Our game right now, right? Talking to me, you might find some enterprise workflow. You might build a software on top of that. That that AI will never be able to understand why a certain software or solving a certain problem makes sense, why versus not, because this kind of information is not available on Reddit, right? So nobody talks about their work and workflows on Reddit, right? So you must understand that, right? And these things are also very very evolving, right? So if you are hooked on to a particular industry, you are an industrial expert, uh, there is always a new way to solve things that comes up in a 1 year 2 year kind of thing, and then your workflows can evolve if your software is in that place.
Right.
But if you are not in touch with the client, then your workflows and the problem you solve will not evolve. So that's one area. Second area naturally is to kind of figure out, where your area of passion is, and kind of keep on working in that area, because the more AI kind of becomes better on some of these tasks, it might be better for you, because there is a limitation that, for humans also, that uh, they cannot understand whether a solution has been created correctly or not
Mm,
by AI if they are not at that level of intelligence, right? So
mm,
today, if you ask me, can I kind of look at an Azure database and figure out if it has been set up correctly? The answer is no,
mm,
because even if it is set up correctly by AI, I have no way to validate that, because I'm not knowledgeable in that area.
mm,
So you must become an expert not only in areas where AI is not good at, but also kind of have a decent understanding of what AI is good at, so that you can validate and quality control it.
mm. Yeah, I think like how well you're using any tool for work, similar to that, being good at using AI for specifically your use cases
Your
can
own.
definitely differentiate you versus other people. I think
Yeah.
that's a very valid point because
Correct.
I mean AI is like, for example, using internet or using Google or using specific
Yeah.
industry tools, right? Like Figma
Yeah.
for designers, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Um,
So I can give you one example. Take for example, a lot of marketers now kind of know how to work with some of the pre-built tools that can create automated campaigns. This used to take 2 months for working with the agency to kind of create various kind of marketing campaigns in various forms and shapes and portals and messaging. This
right,
used to take 2 months, right? And right now they are just sitting on in front of their systems, working with the right tool of their choice where they are experts in, and kind of creating few campaign options and just running with it, doing A/B testing, and kind of becoming more successful going forward, right? And this comes in at, let's say, 1/20th of the cost. You
yeah,
can really kind of do very well for yourself if you're doing that.
yeah, yeah, no, definitely.
But you need to kind of customize what you AI to your workflows. That's when you kind of get that efficiency. Just typing in a few prompts in ChatGPT won't get you that banner that you are looking for, which is commercially ready.
Yeah, valid. No, I think this is very interesting about reallocation of the work that's happening between AI and humans, and hence the time spent on different things might get uh, evolved over a period of time, especially in strategy. I think the other thing, like you were mentioning, is going deep, going into specifically the most complex part of your workflows that will be harder for AI to automate. Um, and even if they do, they might not always be able to customize and provide the right quality of outcomes that humans can. And I think the third thing is just getting better at utilizing AI for your specific use case. I think.
Correct. Getting better at utilizing AI is pivotal, because learning to learn is a super important skill that will help you kind of cope up with this disruption, and not only cope up but also capitalize, right? So so that's super important. Take for example, OpenClaw is one tool that has taken the internet by the storm.
Yeah,
Now it's a 24/7 agent that you can run on your laptop. Especially Apple laptops are especially suited to it. Now, if you have that, right, the only cost of running the agents is running a group of agents is the cost of electricity. So you can kind of do a lot of high volume work, and you can then use something like an Claude Opus or a Chat GPT, or a Chat GPT 5.1 or a 5.2 to audit that work, and kind of create a body of work that is within your domain, right?
yeah,
So So the key point is today it's open cloud, tomorrow it can be something else. But really, kind of learning to learn is super important so that you are up to speed uh, with all of these tools.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Let's talk about the skills part now, right? Like, because some of these are going to be horizontal skills because its strategy can be applied in various different domains and industries. Some of these are going to be more industry specific as well. And then I think some of them are, I would say, at the intersection, right? Because you might have certain skills which are behavioral, can be applied in consulting, in in-house strategy, but then at the same time they can be fine-tuned or contextualized based on the specific company that you are in or specific goal that you are trying to achieve, right? So
Yeah,
let's structure the skill discussion, Jay, based on something that can provide very practical insight
yeah,
to people in the space who are
yes,
contemplating, like, okay, I have been doing things in an XYZ manner,
yeah,
in strategy.
yeah,
How do they take stock of what they already have and they don't need to change because that's, let's say, a timeless skill, and at the same time reevaluate, like you said, what they need to unlearn
yeah,
and relearn,
yeah,
and what are the new things which they have never even thought about, like for example AI could be one of that,
yeah,
that they need to learn from scratch,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
let's cover it like in all dimensions, maybe
yeah.
by point.
See, I think the way I would break this down is working with humans and working with agents. Now, in a pre 2023 era, it was only working with humans or working with technology and humans. In post 2023 and later era, it is working with agents as well as humans, right? So I'll break it down separately for each of them. uh, on the area of working with humans, the most important, I think, most important skill that you must develop is influencing. uh, First, being clear about the problem and the solution map, and then kind of clearly communicating that and creating consensus enough so that there is momentum in that direction. That's super important. Many a times initiatives only fail because in the minds of other individuals in the organization, this is not important enough.
Hmm.
Something is not important enough, right? So mobilizing that sponsorship and influencing is super important across the board, right? So how do you make them success? They need to kind of understand how whatever you are recommending is making them successful, right? And then they need to kind of invest in you so that you can take the organization forward in that direction. So influencing is super important. Second is framing a problem.
Hmm.
uh, this looks very mundane, but the truth is that many people are unable to kind of understand what are we solving for, uh, how quickly do we need to get there, and what are the side effects that we need to avoid in that process. All of these are very very tricky things, especially in a corporate context where many people are telling you many things, um, and things are getting stretched in all the direction, and uh, you know separating wheat from chaff is also very very difficult to kind of get when so figuring out the north star and framing the problem is super important when working with humans. And I think lastly, creatively solving a solution, building a solution, right? Solution never comes out of any analytical skill. It always comes out of creativity. So how can you creatively put together something which works for everybody as a solution is super important. Whether it be using tech or whether it be using people, how do you kind of go ahead and solve for that, right?
Hmm.
uh, Working with agents is slightly different. Here you kind of first need to learn, right? How do you kind of keep up with so much that is happening in the world of AI is a little different technology than the technologies that have come in before. Technologies that have come in before are static. So if you know there is a cloud offering, it will have certain specifications.
Right.
AI is being powered, AI and agents are a technology which is being powered by LLMs, which is kind of exceeding human performance in various tasks going forward, right? So the
Mm.
specifications of those technology are very, very different. Today it can read a chest X-ray. Tomorrow it will be probably able to do surgery, right? So you need to be kind of you need to kind of not only understand what what can AI do and what AI cannot do reliably. You also need to learn how to set it up for success,
Yeah.
and it's not just a matter of kind of understanding the problem that they have and kind of creating a solution. It has to be a reliable solution that is trusted by humans. It is to be a transparent solution. It has to be an explainable solution so that humans know that it is accurate, reliable, trusted, and it creates an ROI for them, right?
Right.
But whenever you do that, I have seen magic happen in those cases, and you know, there is only going up. Productivity benefit is just as part of that benefit. You kind of get a lot more benefit in terms of effectiveness and revenue growth when you do that.
Got it. Got it. All right. And can you give me an example specifically, either from your own experience or something you might have read or heard, apart from the viral ones that everybody knows about, wherein you've seen people really learn AI at a mid to senior career level, especially because, see, a lot of our audience is not Gen Z. I'll be very honest, right?
Okay.
Um, we have probably less than 20% Gen Z.
Yeah.
80% people are millennials or Gen X, and those people, it can be harder for somebody like I'm a millennial myself, and I think it can be harder for folks like us because we have to unlearn things first and then relearn. So can you maybe share an example of, like, some entrenched daily task that was done in a more human centric, uh, unidimensional kind of a manner, and recently you've seen that it's getting more and more uh, influenced by AI, and you still might have humans in the loop, but there is significant involvement of AI. So the like coding is one, marketing is another. There are a lot of these things, but what I would love to understand as an example is, how did the shift happen from
Yeah.
a skill learning and unlearning standpoint over a period of time?
Correct. Correct. So I can see AI is a recent phenomenon, and many of the projects are ongoing. So I have to kind of keep it at a high level. But I can kind of tell you how this typically goes in many of the functions. Let's say pick up something called sales function, right? A typical B2B sales function has, and I think Pivot will also have some marketing and some sales function available within the company, right? They spend a lot of time researching enterprises and figuring out. This is public now, so I can talk about it as well. They spend a lot. B2B functions spend a lot of time researching their potential clients, whom to target, what to tell them, what is the value proposition to go with, to tell them, so on and so forth, right? So what essentially happens is that these functions spend more than 80% of their time in just research, because they just have one shot in kind of going after a client. They know their client list. They don't want to kind of go ahead and approach them with something which doesn't work, because they also want to kind of uh, be very sharp on the value prop, right? So this research is required to kind of do what to kind of convert. It's a necessary part, but it's a significant part of their time and business, right? So what if a tool in AI can kind of uh, do that, right? Can kind of do the heavy lifting on research. One such product which was launched recently by Fractal is called Flyfish, and what it does is it takes away all the heavy lifting that you need to do around around the companies that you want to target, the executive profiles that you want to target, and once you select that executive profile, what are their priorities, and what within your offering should you kind of pitch to them, right? And what is important to these guys, and what is the use case that you want to kind of pitch to them? How do you approach them, and what is the email that you write to them, or a LinkedIn post that you write to them, so that it becomes super successful. Now all of this looks very simple, but it is a super time consuming task when done client by client, right? What if AI can do all the heavy lifting, get you the right email, which is explainable, why it has chosen that email, which client to target, what are their priorities, what are your offerings which match their priority, and which client is uh, what to write to them and how to reach out to them first time, next time, what to present to them, so on and so forth, right? All of these kind of take away a lot of heavy lifting that needs to be done by human, and kind of converts to and kind of converts to free time that can be put on conversing with client and doing more meetings. So in
Mm.
any of these cases, what happens is that when that time frees up, they spend more time on people to people activities, which leads to high ROI in
Mm.
terms of upliftment and conversion, more accurate outreaches, less time spent on research, so
Yeah.
on and so forth, and yet still being very, very pointed.
Right. Oh, makes sense. What I want to discuss next, and I mean, we should also take a pause, and I'll just address the audience in the room who might have
Sure.
joined us today. Thank you everyone for joining on a Thursday evening. Jay has been sharing a lot of wealth of insights. I'm sure a lot of your dilemmas or doubts might be getting uncluttered and hopefully answered. But if you have any specific questions, please feel free to share them in chat. I think some of you have already shared with us before the event started. So we've been covering some of those questions and we'll be covering more of them in the next few minutes. But please do feel free to share more questions if you'd like in the chat section. Um, Jay, just the next subtopic that I want to focus on is more in regard with the job market for strategy and founders office, chief of staff kind of roles. Um, we actually held this particular session because we have been getting a lot of growing demand from our clients on either growing their careers in this field or transitioning from one role to another within this field, right? um,
Yes.
More so in the recent last 1 year than before, and I think it's a
Yeah.
direct correlation also with the demand from companies side as well, because y- like you said, when the term was invented, it was a little bit of everything, right? The strategy consulting, and
Yeah.
a lot of companies are looking for specialists, but they are also looking for people who can utilize, for example, the horizontal AI technology across different functions. So if
Yeah.
you're just a marketer, you might not know how to leverage AI for product, right? But you're also like, as a founder or a CEO, you don't have all the bandwidth to understand how to leverage AI, how to you know tackle all of the different initiatives that the company is undertaking just by yourself. So we've
Yeah.
seen a growing demand for such professionals in corporate as well.
Yeah.
How are you seeing the job market currently function? Because overall, from our lens, it's still a pretty crowded and pretty challenging job market.
Yes.
Um, Even though the companies are hiring, but the supply of talent is extremely high. So competition is pretty brutal. So what can people do to tackle such a job market where you have 500 to 1,000 people competing for every single role?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Job market is so so I think job market is tough in India, and I mean, I'll not mince words.
Yeah,
There are we have a huge supply of graduates coming in every year,
yeah,
and it's pretty competitive in that sense. Especially, it's more competitive than when I graduated, or
yeah,
so that's true, right? So there are a couple of paths that I think are valid to kind of come are interesting and can be taken to get to such kind of roles. But before that, we must understand there are two different kind of roles when we talk about corporate strategy within startups versus corporates or large established enterprises, right? Within startups, it means operations strategy, process building, hiring, almost everything that a founder needs to do within the founder's office. Driving this through founder's office so that nothing breaks, right? There is a certain business plan that has been aligned with the boards and investors, and one must kind of execute it. So you need to provide leverage to founders almost at every location, and the way to kind of do that would be to kind of either have some experience and join a series 8 startup, because they will value your experience and put you in that kind of a position. But always trying to kind of work in a founder's office or a CEO's office will mean that you will have to kind of come with a certain existing skill set and go to a much smaller organization. So if you are working for $1 billion organization just doing marketing, a series A or a series B organization will kind of give you that opportunity to come in, work with the founder, who is not that great in marketing, or who knows that he wants you to pick up marketing but also pick up operations, processes, strategy, so on and so forth, right? So uh, almost always working for a smaller organization gives you that exposure and a chance to kind of expand your role into the founder's office. So that's one way to kind of think about it, and then you can grow with the company. And this happens, right? Many of the VC and the startups are growing at VC funded startups are growing at 100% year on year. So within a short span of 5 6 years, you might kind of come to a size where you have also grown, the organization has grown accordingly. And believe me, like everything, the toughest problems do come to CEOs and the founders. So it is not possible that organization has grown and you have not grown in terms of experience. These are very demanding roles, so bar for success is high, and if you're not making the cut, then you will see that your career, you will not be kept in that office. So that's one area. Second area is joining consulting firms and kind of going to large corporates through a corporate strategy role.
Mm,
uh, these are the two ways to kind of approach it. Now, that's on transitioning, right?
mm,
Growing within any corporate strategy role will mean understanding what is the success criteria that founder has in their minds, or the CEO has in their minds. It might be as simple as, you know, my all functions are doing great. I just
yeah.
want to influence them, get things done by influencing them. Or it might be work with a few functions, help them implement
Mm,
something, get out quickly, right? Or it might be select one function every year, transform it end to end. We have 4 years runway. We will transform the full company in 4 years. So, so what is that vision of the founder for the office, and more importantly for the company? What are the most pressing problems? That's what you need to kind of understand to kind of grow within the system, and then kind of start to see where you can play a role there. Some founders are pretty clear on where to kind of some founders or CEOs are pretty clear on where to kind of place you, and where they will kind of set you up for success. Some founders will kind of just say, find your way, just get this done. So it
yeah.
depends on their working style, but growing within the system requires working on the most pressing problems of the company as per the founder, which are either in a cross-functional domain, or are so strategically important that we cannot fail on those.
Yeah. Just I think those are all valid points. You just when you're transitioning to a new org, right? Though you may not always know, apart from whatever's in the JD, like what are the key requirements of the role. So we frequently tell people to go outside of the JD, do bit of in-depth research on the company, whatever is in the public domain. You can't
Yeah.
always find a lot, but you can find something through, let's say,
So you wanted to understand how to maybe crack interviews, is that?
yeah. So, like, how do you get more interviews? For example, like
Yeah, see.
I'm sure Fractal has been doing a lot of hiring as well.
Yes.
Maybe not, currently given
Yeah.
the job market, but what would you look for if you were hiring strategy professionals right now on your team?
So so I think very important is the understanding the hiring funnel. Where
Yeah.
can you get eliminated the most? You
Yeah.
don't get eliminated the most in the interviews. You get eliminated the most in when you submit your resume. So
Right.
where do you put your resume where you have the maximum chance of getting a call? Which channel should you go with? There is a referral channel, there is a LinkedIn channel, there is a Naukri channel. What I've found is that referrals work best. If an employee within the company can refer you, then
Yeah.
at least you have solved for the first part of the equation. You will get the interview.
Mm.
Now, preparing for the interview means that you kind of not only brush up on your own experience, uh, but also brush up on so what of that, right? Uh, if you kind of solved a particular problem, what was the context of the problem in which it was solved, right? And why was it critical? Take for
Yeah.
example, if you kind of built a customer satisfaction program for a high end client, for high end clients of a large real estate developer, what was the context in which you had to do that? Because probably you were losing share, right? Or probably the market was so bad that it was at a 10-year low and you wanted them to buy more from you, and you had discovered that each HNI can buy 3 flats or 4 flats, right?
Yeah.
So what was the context in which you kind of solved that problem is super important. How did you solve the problem is also super important, but also be very clear on what is it that you could have solved and what is it that you could not have solved, and be very clear on providing and attributing success to not only yourself but also to the function that kind of worked with you, because believe it or not, they are the ones who are doing the heavy lifting, and the initiative will fail the moment you leave if they are not the ones who are carrying the baton going forward. So
Mm.
I think all of that is required in that interview. Lastly, what more is required is that in corporate strategy, many a times what happens is that you are kind of interviewing for a different industry. So yeah, they will talk about your work ex, but they will always try to the interviewer will always try to kind of throw in a problem which is like a case study. uh,
Mm.
what I found most useful is just brush up on your case study skills. It's a very standard practice. Definitely do that. Whether it be a profitability case study, M&A case study, or whatever, something or the other always kind of helps from those.
Got it. Got it. Okay, no, that's helpful. And I mean, would you say generally, in terms of identifying the right roles, right? Because that's another area. Sometimes people are confused, like which type of roles would make sense for them, especially like you might know the functional domain, which is strategy, ops, and stuff. But from more of a company standpoint or industry standpoint, um, a lot of times we see people wasting their time applying to type of companies where they're not a good fit. So let's say I'm working in tech now. Even tech is very broad today. You have, in India at least, you have IT services, GCCs, you have startups, and you have large tech as well, right? It's a fairly like mosaic kind of a landscape comprising
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
So how do you identify the right set of companies and then opportunities that would be the best fit, or you just kind of like
See,
take a hunt?
that's where referral kind of is super important, right? Your
Mm.
friend will tell you whether you are a fit or not.
Yeah.
So, so, so you will get that feedback right away that whether you are a fit or not. The guy or girl will honestly tell you that okay, are you a fit or not for this
Yeah.
industry? Are they happy or not? Like sometimes you don't want to go get into an industry where your peers are not happy and you will also end up not being happy.
Yeah.
So they will give you an honest feedback. So if you're a mid-career professional, you have interacted with so many professionals across uh, your journey. I think try to maximize your applications via referral. That will also push you to network a little more, and it will also kind of get you better conversions. It will also get you an honest feedback on which industries to are you a fit for and which you are not, and which roles are you fit for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it happens that you are too junior for the role or too senior for a role. You
Mhm.
just don't want to land up there, and your friend will honestly tell you that please don't do it.
Mhm. No, that's a valid point. Um, the only thing is, you don't always have connects at every company. So getting a referral.
Yeah, yeah. Then try to you
Yeah.
will always have alumni or.
Hey Jay, can you hear me?
Hey, yes, yes, I can hear you. So
Right.
you're right. You're right. In those cases, definitely kind of try to apply more, but
Yeah.
try to kind of maximize. It can be somebody from your institute, somebody from your own college,
Sure.
somebody on from your school.
Or somebody you can find on Pivot. I will just take
Yeah,
a
somebody you
moment
can
to,
find on Pivot.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
do a plug here, because that is one of the biggest features that we have on our platform. Apart from the fact that you can get mentorship and guidance from folks like Jay, you can also find the right connects. And like Jay said, right, if you come across somebody who's working at your target company, they are not automatically going to just go ahead and give the referral. They will assess your profile, but at least you then have a connect, right? So maybe you have connects at 100 companies, but through communities like Pivot, you can access 1,000 plus companies, right?
yeah.
So I think that is definitely something which can improve your chances in the job market for sure.
Yeah, and the moment you have some face time with that individual, I'm pretty sure
You're
they
right.
will be helpful. Nobody wants to be unhelpful uh,
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
spending
No,
time with
absolutely.
each other.
Absolutely. Great. Jay, I think we have covered a lot of ground today. Thank you so much for sharing all your insights. I think, yeah, I especially found the whole AI part of the discussion quite helpful, because there is just so much noise out there on that front. And coming from somebody, who's leading strategy at such a fast growing analytics company in India today, I think that's really, really helpful. Um, for people who joined us today, thank you for spending your time with us as opposed to your friends, family, or at work. I really appreciate that. And one thing I would suggest is you check out Jay's profile on Pivot platform in case you would like to get direct feedback on your transition from him. It will be much more personalized and specific to your background and goals, so it could be quite helpful. And with that, yeah, we are coming to a close. Thank you again, Jay, for joining, for sharing all the insights. And I hope everybody has a good rest of their evening.
Yeah. Thank you, Arjun. Thank you for having me, and I wish all the best to your community members and to the attendees on this post.
Amazing. Thanks.